Welcome to Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and a dash of hope collide nightly like a Trevor Story strikeout. We cover every loss, every meltdown, and yes, even the rare win, with brutally honest takes and zero front office fluff. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com or risk being left out in the cold like a home game in April. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Dalfino. Before we get started, I gotta say, if I had $1 for every time the Sox managed to pull out a tight loss in mid-September, I'd be able to pay the luxury tax by myself. Seriously, this team finds new ways to make you lose your mind. You think you've seen frustration? Buckle up. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick is like the human embodiment of a Twitter argument. You ever see him during a Red Sox loss? He's pacing his living room like a dad trying to fix a Wi-Fi router during the Super Bowl. He's firing off tweets, paragraphs long, and yelling at strangers named Yankee fans 420. If passion won championships, Nick would have 10 rings by now. Unfortunately, the Sox just have Weisert's blown saves count. And also joining us tonight is Thayer Doyle. You know Thayer's the guy who shows up to Fenway with a notebook, a red pen, and grades the team like it's a midterm exam. Duran, C-. Forgot how to run the bases. Bregman, see me after class. And God forbid someone doesn't bunt correctly, Thayer will be giving you a 45-minute lecture on fundamentals while his kids are in the back seat begging him to just put on the damn radio. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are now 83-70 on the season after blowing a series with the Sacramento A's. And I stress the word blowing. A team with now to town. And of course, the Sox make them look like the 98 Yankees. Top of the first, Bayo on the mound. This was fun. First batter, double. Second batter, boom, home run. 2-0 Oakland, Sacramento, before people even sat down with their beers. You ever notice Bayo always looks like he's about to cry when things go sideways? He's like a kid who just dropped his ice cream. Next guy doubles, next guy singles, 3-0. I mean, if Bayo wanted to throw a birthday party for the A's offense, just say so. Bottom of the first, Sox fight back. Story doubles, Bregman singles, Yoshida hit a sac fly, and it's 3-1. Then Lowe hits a little dribbler, beats it out, and everybody's thinking, here we go, rally time. And then Wong flies out, and the inning is dead. The story of this team, when they get men on base, they treat it like a Jehovah's Witness at the door. Just ignore them, and they'll go away. Second inning, David Hamilton, of all people, cranks a homer. Didn't see that one coming. Hamilton, the guy weighs about as much as a Fenway pretzel, and he just launches one 393 feet. Brings it to 3-2. Then Eaton gets on, steals second, and the Sox can't cash in because, of course. Third inning, my God, Bayo walks a couple guys, then a little grounder to Story, and he throws it away. Shocker. Trevor Story, guy hits, guy runs, but in the field today, it's like he's playing whack-a-mole. He's booting everything. The A's tack on another run, and it's 4-2. From there, Bayo's done. They bring in Tolle, the rookie, and he actually looks decent. Strikes out the side in the fifth. The kid's pitching his ass off, and then the offense, they're on break, taking naps in the dugout. Fenway's basically a morgue at this point. Seventh inning, because the Sox never lose clean, they got to make it ugly. Butler singles, steals second, routine grounder to Story, and this guy commits another error. Another one. Dude's glove has more holes than the plot of a Fast and Furious movie. Run scores 5-2, crowd booing, rightfully so. Bottom 8. Story redeems himself with a monster shot, 431 feet to dead center, an absolute nuke. Fenway wakes up, 5-3 game. And then Bregman strikes out, pinch hit parade comes out, ground out, strikeout, rally dead before it starts. Ninth inning, last chance, 3 pinch hitters, Navarez, Refsnyder, Sogard, they all go down like a Jenga tower in an earthquake. Game over. A's win 5-3. So yeah, you just lost 2 of 3 to the Sacramento freaking Athletics, a team that's basically a traveling AAU squad in Major League uniforms. I swear, rooting for the Red Sox sometimes is like dating a magician. You think something good's about to happen, and then poof, nothing. Just disappointment and a $200 bar tab. Now, it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
I have a lot of words to say for this day, but before I get to that, there were two things that I wanted to mention from Jim's opening monologue that he went over. Two thoughts came up. Number one, you referenced me pacing and going crazy back and forth during a game. I just want to let you know that did happen today, and it reminded me today of myself throwing middle schoolers out of my store for misbehaving after the Red Sox lost. So, true story, Jim. I don't know if you had the camera footage and all, but it got pretty ugly where the cops also got involved today because I had enough. I don't know if I called the cops on the kids or the Red Sox. That's still debatable. Number two, you mentioned Thayer's opening here and his reference on his things that he does with middle school and school. And all I could think of right here was a famous principal back in the day from television named Mr. Belding. Hey, what is going on here? That's how I feel right now on your lovely Red Sox. Now for the word of the day. Earmuffs, kids, earmuffs. This is adult language here. Adult language. We're getting into the nitty gritty here, so it's all coming out. My word of the day is dumb fuck. And that is your manager of the Red Sox because I want to go over what he said post game to the media. He was asked about the Red Sox
This used to be a
being,
family show.
it's not anymore. Too bad. We are 1.5 games up on the Guardians for the third wild card. He brought up the 2021 Red Sox. He said, "We've been there, done that. I'm not worried." 2021. Well, dummy. You had proven major league caliber players on that team. This is my fourth show now in a row referencing 2021 with having players of the names of Rafi Devers, Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez. Your amazing trade deadline acquisition. Can you believe it, guys? Kyle Schwarber was on this team in 2021. Holy crap, they did something. Oh, that's right. Unlike this trade deadline of 2025, Dustin May. That's how I feel right now. I've just had it. I've had it with the comments. I've had it with the organization. I'm done. I've been done. I hardly watched the game, truthfully, today. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was so busy doing other things that I needed to pay full attention to. I was watching a little bit from my phone. I was not interested. I did not care because that's what the organization doesn't care about. They didn't want to improve their team. So why am I going out of my way on a Thursday afternoon when I'm busy grinding and making all I can out of my day when they can't do anything? They can't even win against the lowly Athletics. I know it's 83 point whatever percentage that they could still make a playoff spot, and the Guardians have 26.1. We went over this before the show, but you know what, guys? I don't want them to make it. If they make it, the ownership and the organization is going to say, "Oh, well, guess what? We made the playoffs this season, whether it was one game or not." And they're going to say, all is good. Cora's back. Fatsy's back. The whole crew is here. We're fine. Don't worry about us. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be the same crap all over again for the next 2-3 seasons. I need immediate change. I've had it. I don't like a lot of these players on this team. This is not the Red Sox that I have grown up with. I'm done. This is worse than the 92, 3, 4 crapola that we had back then. It is. I was grateful to see the Movon era, when he was there from 97 all the way up to 98 and everything. I was grateful to have Nomar when they made the playoffs in 98 and 99. We went through some turbulence, obviously, from 2000 to 2002, but then Then that light at the end of the tunnel started to hit. The 2003 team started to do things, and we almost got to the promised land in '04, etc. I can't take this organization seriously anymore. Not with the ownership, not with what they do. That's it. So, yep, word of the day was, you know what it was. I'm not repeating it again because that's foul language, but it needed to be said, and that really felt good. I needed to vent a lot. So there you go.
Nick Face's Word of the Day is brought to you by Fenway Tums, the official antacid of Red Sox Nation. Whether it's extra innings, bullpen walks, or blowing the chew to and scream louder. Fenway Tums, because heartburn is part of the game. Thayer, your opening takes and reactions to this debacle.
All right. So, Nick, I gotta say, um, clearly, I know how you feel. Dealing with adolescence, I think I kind of get it. You know, the way you feel about the Red Sox. Now I know why you called the cops on the middle schoolers because you're dealing with the sort of the same sort of behaviors.
I had a very long day. You guys don't want to see it again.
I
It
have
was
had a
that
very
bad.
long day.
That was that was horrific today. Horrific.
So, well, we'll start with, and I won't be quite as vulgar. As I'm sitting here thinking about the Red Sox, I need to paraphrase the great Ferris Bueller. And the Red Sox are so tight that if you stuck a diamond up their butt in 2 weeks, a piece of coal in 2 weeks, you'll have a diamond. These guys, they're so tight. We've been watching them all year long. The inconsistency, their inability to really, perform at certain times, and at other times they look like they're world beaters. You're dealing with kids. You're dealing with people that are not used to this pressure. They are guys that are, even Story in the pro, like other than Bregman, they're not used to this. And you're seeing it. Everything they do, they're so tight. They're so wrapped up in it. The pitching, unlike the collapse in 2011, the pitching has been okay. Bayo and Giolito, I think, are spent. They are giving every effort they have, but they are hitting innings marks that they have never hit before. And that's sort of part of their problem. Bayo wasn't great today. Giolito wasn't great yesterday, but they battled through. The thing that's killing this team is the fact that nobody can hit. Not a single one of them. And every time one of your pitchers goes out, they have to be perfect. If they feel they have to be perfect. And the minute something goes wrong, they're in trouble. Defensively, they feel they have to be perfect. Story suddenly is throwing the ball away all over the place. He never did that all year long. Each and every at bat, it's getting worse and worse. They have no idea. They've never been a very patient and good ball club, but now they're swinging at stuff all over the place. They have no idea what they're doing. They're base running. They're trying to be too aggressive. I know the odds say 85%, and that's what bothers me with statistics and analytics. They do not take into account the human factor. Right now, Cleveland is on fire. Looking at what we had today, I sort of was going back and forth with Jim. Today was the day that I think was going to make or break the season, because Cleveland's been rolling. They're 9-1, or they may be 10-0 now in their last 10 games, and they were facing the Tigers and Scooble. Like, this is your chance. You have it in 8 games on magic number. You beat the A's, Scooble beats them, and you're good to go. You're down to 6. You have a path. But they just blew that. It's gone. Texas is playing, Texas is going to be playing the Astros, and then they're going to play the Guardians at the end. Texans are going to be gone. The Rangers are going to be useless. The Guardians are going to wipe the floor with them. I want to say the Guardians are going to be playing the Marlins next. They're playing garbage teams. The only thing they have left to play is the Tigers, and I got bad news for you. The Tigers are in the same state we are. They can't hit either. I hate to say it, but September 18th, 2025 marks the death of the Red Sox season.
Wow, big words. Moving a little bit along to some recap for today's game. Brian Bayo with yet another stinker when it matters most. We've been seeing this a little bit more now. I don't know if he's starting to get a little bit run down or what the answer is, but 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 Ks, and a home run. Thayer, I'll start with you. What did you see or what you didn't see tonight with Bayo, and where do we go from here with him?
He's wiped out. That's how I feel. I think it's a combination of physical and emotional just fatigue. We have been talking since May, maybe, on the improvement that he has shown on the mound. His body language has changed. He's gone from being someone who would fall apart to, when the chips started to fall, to a guy that was able to come back and through it. You saw a little bit of that falling apart. I have to give him credit. He came out of that first inning without completely just selling it, right? He got through that first inning and still got through 4 innings, but he's struggling. He's tired. His ability to sort of get through things. And like I said, he's a kid. He's never been through these things. He feels that he needs to be if he doesn't have his great stuff, he starts to worry. And the Red Sox offense is doing these guys no favors whatsoever. The minute they give up a run, it's pretty much over. At least that's how they feel. And you cannot perform at your best in that situation. The game of baseball is hard. It is so hard, physically and emotionally. And it's hard when things are going well. When they're not going well, it just takes an extra toll on you. Every time they go out, they feel that they have to be at their absolute best. And when they're not, you sort of see it. So yes, it was a stinker in relationship to his other stuff. I think it's, and I hate to say, moving forward, this might be something that's positive for him as he sort of gets that feeling. But in relationship to the 2025 season, this is the best you're going to get out of him unless this offense has a miraculous turnaround and all these AAA and quadruple A batters that we have suddenly realize they can move runners and hit the ball. But I don't hold my breath.
Nick, same question to you. Your reactions on Brian Bayo, and is this something that we're going to start seeing for the rest of the season, or can he find a way to turn this around?
Pressure, pressure, pressure. That's what it comes down to. This is uncharted territories here for Brian Bayo in his growth and maturity of being a major league pitcher. It's growing pains. He's not, thankfully, like stinking the house up. That's a plus. Let's make sure we say that. It's still not great because you need better than this. As you also said, Thayer, this is fatigue. This is an innings cap, or not an innings cap. This is an innings level, rather, that he has not hit in his major league career. And as a young player and a young pitcher developing and trying to trust his craft and learn how to prolong a season to get to the promised land, this is a charted territory it's never been at for him. So as expected, this is kind of what I envisioned here a little bit. I never fully wanted to give him that number 2 spot either in the rotation. I always looked at him as a 3. I like him there as a 3. I don't want him higher than that. And if anything lower than that, that means you're not getting the best out of Bayo in my eyes. I think he's a true 3 starter in baseball. Now, that means that Giolito as your 2, to me, that's been more of the letdown for me, I have to say, because that's a guy, yes, he's coming off the injury and trying to get himself back into a long grind of a major league season. I get that. But the problem here is we're putting him into a situation that he really shouldn't be in. I mean, that him being a number 2 should not ever happen with this team. I think probably coming into this season, we were eyeing Walker Buehler as our 2 on paper. Maybe Tanner Houck after last season. Again, that's a question mark. You could say maybe on that, but we're looking at guys in slots in a 2 and 3 spot in a rotation. Shouldn't even be there. Shouldn't even be there. Maybe a 3 and 4. I like Giolito as my 4. Don't get me wrong. but it's been a letdown. I don't look at the pitching as the thing that's really being the catalyst here of this team tanking. That's your offense. I mean, we said it before. Crochet throws what tomorrow night? Is he tomorrow night? We'll get into that a little bit later. Crochet could throw a gem. Maybe he gives up 1 or 2 runs, and your offense gives you diddly squat, and he loses 2-0. That's where we're at with this team right now, and it's not good enough. That's the problem. So we can be all mad and angry that we want with the pitching. I still don't look at starting pitching as the true issue with this club right now. It's not. It's middle relief, but most importantly, the offense. The offense is killing this team.
Yeah, both of you brought up a couple points there that I try to unpack a few things. Um, Number one, the idea here about the starting rotation, I have to agree with you, Nick, on that too. It really isn't the finger pointing at the starting rotation. I mean, I obviously I have that up on Bayo being a stinker because the reality is we needed more out of the starting and we didn't get enough out of the starter. That's the problem. However, and I'm gonna kind of parlay this into Peyton Tolle today. He went 3 innings, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts. When you combine the 2 of them, because it was a long relief stint of 3 innings, you actually got 7 innings, 3 earned runs out of the total of both of them combined, which you would take 9 times out of 10 because you've got a quality start, and I'm a big quality start guy. 6 innings, 3 earned runs, and that should be enough to parlay you into a victory 60% of the time with a 600 winning percentage. It just isn't because it's so bad with the offense right now, and you've got so many guys that shouldn't be playing every day right now that you don't have much of a choice, and the pitching staff has to be near perfect, and it's just something they can't be. But, to try to at least find a little bit of a highlight here, and Nick, 30 seconds for you. Peyton Tolle's outing, 3 innings again, as I mentioned, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts. He did strike out the side in the 5th. I'm starting to think that, and this isn't just because of this outing, but I'm wondering if he might be a guy that could be a bullpen piece moving forward. And I'm not saying just for this season, maybe even moving forward down the road. What are your thoughts?
I think if we look at him more so in a bullpen role, we're hurting ourselves in the long run. Because I do think over the long haul here, with his growth and development, he could be a very good starter. He's very young still, too. So I want to give him more development here. He really hasn't had any time in Worcester either, guys. He really hasn't. I mean, he had what, a snap of the fingers and got thrown up here because we don't have any other depth options to have. I didn't love his Arizona start, don't get me wrong, and that's why he ended up to the bullpen, but the first start was very promising. I think he's got good stuff. If you ask me who I like better, Conley Early or Peyton Tolle, who do I rather in the rotation? I'm going Conley Early. I mean, his results have proven otherwise that he's looked tremendous since he's come up here. So I give him the upper edge right now, but if you can have some sort of a depth piece in your pen, at least for the immediate, that can get the job done. This was one of those today that said to me, okay, we don't have to put our trust all the time into, a Chris Murphy or a Greg Weissert or Justin Wilson. Peyton Tolle now can show that he can get it done. So that it was promising.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, as far as Peyton Tolle's concerned, if we kind of look at his numbers just at home, we have 5 innings in that first game, 11 strikeouts, and then of course 3 innings today. So 8 innings, 15 strikeouts just in Fenway Park. Um, those are some crazy splits. But Thayer, your reaction on Peyton Tolle and what do you see moving forward for the rest of this season and beyond?
For the rest of the season, he'll give us maybe 2 more appearances in 9 games. That's it. It's over. Uh, if by some flukish miracle they make the playoffs, I think he'll be another guy out of the bullpen. Just kind of, and that's all they need him to do. I don't think they want to put the pressure on him to start. I think you're sort of seeing that when he, the last couple times he doesn't have enough quality pitches in those secondary pitches to be a starter right now. They're simply bringing him up. I think it's him being here in the long run, I think is going to be beneficial for him as a pitcher. I think just being around this atmosphere is going to be good. I think him being in situations like today where it mattered and he pitched well and saw success is going to be good for him. They don't need to stretch him out. He doesn't need to be the starter. I think next year, I doubt he will start the year with the Red Sox, but I can see him being someone that they bring up kind of like an Anthony. It'll be, the season will get going when Tolle gets here. They're going to give him some time in Worcester. They're going to let him develop, over the winter. It's going to be, all right, kid, you need to, develop a changeup and a slider or something like that. Use those secondary pitches. They'll bring him to the major league club in spring training. He'll get time there. They'll start him in Worcester and hopefully sort of hone those skills and those pitches to really be much better.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think in a short stint, I mean, let's assume, and we'll talk about it as we go along tonight, but let's assume the Red Sox do get into the postseason. I think I like the idea of him coming out of the bullpen as a left-handed reliever that could kind of be a complement to Chapman earlier on in the seventh inning, sixth inning that, could blow people away when you truly need it, especially if there's runners on or in scoring position and you really need a strikeout, maybe 2 outs in the sixth, and you wanna bring him in to face, I don't know, call it whoever, handed batter that's, you wanna K or you wanna keep the ball out of play, especially if there's no out. So, I still think that he has a very big opportunity for the 2025 team if it makes the playoffs, because I think you're gonna need a guy like that that can come out of the bullpen and provide. And as a result of that, my point being is that you don't really have to worry about his secondary stuff right now. Just have him come out there and throw 100, and that's it. To your point, they can work on that in the offseason and next year to try to develop 2 more secondary pitches that'll turn him into a really good starting pitcher. So, well, obviously he's an unfinished product, and we all know that. Moving right along, just quickly on Trevor Story. 2 hits today, 2 runs scored, a homer, 2 errors, got his 31st stolen base on kind of a defensive indifference yesterday, and then wound up getting caught after that in the next time he tried to go, which Nick, you and I texted. I think that was kind of like him just being a little bit greedy at that point. But, Nick, to start me off really quickly on Trevor Story, you think did he just rush it today? I mean, was it just too much going on with the mental side of things? What are your thoughts?
I think Trevor Story is under a lot of pressure right now. I really do. And I think that it's surprising it hasn't shown in the bat. I have to say that. He's hitting, which is a very good plus, and I give him a lot of credit. I haven't done that often this season, but I officially will. I'm going to give him credit for turning around what we all thought was going to be a lost cause. I really think that he's exceeded so many expectations from the season, and I couldn't be happier with what he's actually given us. It's interesting that it's been shaky with the glove. I think a lot of it does become pressing. I think this team, much like you said, Thayer, is very stressed and pressed to the max on what the heck they're trying to do to win ball games. And I think mentally, they are puddle, a puddle of emotion, a puddle of not knowing what to do, a puddle of mediocrity. That could have been the word of the night too, puddle. But that is what you're seeing right now. You're seeing a lot of guys just not registering in the brain exactly what they got to do. And that is because this team struggles so vitally with finding the true approach that they have to do pitch by pitch, at bat by at bat to win ball games. They really fundamentally lack that. they need some severe mental coach awareness person to be coming into this team this offseason. See what Dr. Phil's doing. Let Dr. Phil come in and fix this because it's guys, we laugh. It's that bad. I'm being dead serious here. I really feel that Dr. Phil has to fix this team. I really do. Or some other guy that has credentials because that's what's gonna happen if they don't fix this for next season. I can't do this next year. I can't. I can't see the same mental crap again. I can't do it. Figure it out. It is Major League Baseball. If you can't do it, that means you shouldn't be in the show. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thayer, I want to throw a hot take at you. Um, you know, with Trevor Story, and this has not been a season-long situation with him, but it has been something that we saw today. Do you think the fact that he has different second basemen and different first basemen throughout the season to work with, that it causes a little bit of his rushing and changing around. I mean, it's like one day, in other words, one day he's got Hamilton, one day he's got Romy, the next day he's got Nathaniel Lowe at first, and he's got Romy at first. Does it mean anything?
I don't think it really means a lot in the general grand scheme of things. We probably You're going to see bits and pieces of it. Like what was it the other day when we had that potential double play ball where the I think it was Butler or no, they just beat it out. That could be something where if you notice, most shortstops like that feed when they're coming from the shortstop position to get the ball on the run and throw it. Where he sort of was at the base, had to stop and then take his sort of make the throw. It That's where some of it comes into play. What we're sort of seeing with him is kind of it's it's interesting because it's to Nick's point, it's almost the antithesis of rushing. And I have to give Tony Maserati a little bit of credit because I didn't see this the other day. But when they talked about the first throwing error that he made, he said he set his feet and threw the ball. All year long as we're watching it, one thing about Story is his smoothness and that he never does that. He does everything in motion. All of his throws are in motion. So the idea with today, and I was listening to the game on the way, listening, oh, Story takes the backhand, sets his feet and throws. And that was the sort of another one of those throws that got away. It's almost like Story is trying to do the right thing, if you will, and that's what's costing him. He's trying to be too much of that leader, and that's the hardest part. And to Nick's point, Story really has taken over the role of Bregman. Bregman has, the injury I think has taken. He's disappeared. Story has, and God help me too. I'm going to give him this credit. Story has been the savior of this team. He has done everything right. He makes the right approach. He takes the ability to go the other way when men are in scoring position. He has done everything absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, if you look back on this season, wherever it ends up, you're going to have his name at the top of a list of the 2025 Red Sox most valuable player. Along with Crochet, Chapman, a very small list. So, and the way Bregman's have been going lately, it certainly is a cause for concern, and we'll talk about that too. Nick, go ahead.
The major thing on Story that I think all of us here should be stunned about. Has he played in almost every single game this season? That's the stunning thing to me. If you had told me coming into this season that Story was going to be in the 150 range of games played this season, that as
149 right now.
that is just absolutely stunning. He'll probably play in the rest of the games this season. So if there's 10 more games, he'll play in 159 games this season. That is absolutely mind-boggling.
$58.
That is out of anything, and I don't love statistics, much like you said, Thayer as well too. That is Iron Man-like for him, and it's I give him all the kudos in the world for recovering, recuperating, and getting himself back to being a major league player. That's just awesome to see, and kudos to him.
Well, here's a couple other statistics that probably you wouldn't think about. This is his age 32 season, right? So 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. He has not hit more than 24 home runs since his 35 home run campaign at age 26. So this is he's had 27, 24, 37, 35, 11, 24, 16, and 3 and 2 and now 25. So you haven't seen this kind of power production out of him, since 2021 when he was still with Colorado. Additionally, he has never had a season where he's stolen 30 bases. This is something probably you guys, I don't know if you knew that or not.
Did
His major years 27, 23, 15, 20, 13, and 10. Last year was 6. So this is a really complete turnaround for him as it relates to the stolen bases and the home runs, and tack on 154 hits. Well, he hasn't had this many hits since that 2019 campaign where he had 173. This is actually the third most hits in any single season. He had 174, 173, and this season 154. So it's arguably his third best season of his career, which
and
is
we can't
quite
use
stunning.
the excuse anymore saying that it was all related to Coors Field. That is the one thing that I always kept saying about the contract is those numbers get fluctuated because you play in Colorado. It's gone. We can't say it anymore. Can't
You know,
say
there's
it.
there's been a lot of players that have had the questionable stigma coming out. Troy Tulowitzki, Paul Goldschmidt. There's been quite a few guys
Remember
that have
Vinny Castilla, Todd
you know
Helton?
yeah, a lot of these guys, but they've shown, Nolan Arenado, they've shown that they can play outside of Coors Field. So I don't know how much of a stigma that truly is or truly isn't, but we can talk about that on another episode. Just want to finish off with some news. Wilyer Abreu will not join the team in Tampa. There is a glimmer of hope he could be there on Saturday or Sunday. Um, 30 seconds there. Is his season over?
Eh, I think he's going to try to get there one way or another. My guess is, they'll have him do something. I don't. He's better than Yoshida. Having him in the lineup could produce a little bit of fear, but I don't see him being a cog that's going to really drive us to the playoffs if he does come back. But I'm going to say no, his season is not over.
Nick, same question to you. Will we see Abreu back this year?
The weather tomorrow is 77, 5% chance of rain, sunny and fantastic, which means who cares? It's the same song and dance that we've heard for how long now? I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think he's playing again this season. No, I don't. I'm done. If I hear another update on Wilyer Abreu, my remote's gonna go through my television screen. I'm
So,
done.
3% chance of rain and 0% chance of Willie Abreu sighting.
Yep, that's
Gotcha.
exactly right.
Got it. It is now time for the wild card watch.
And now it's time for the Wild Card Watch.
Okay, so wild card watch is brought to you by Fenway Eye Care. Because if the Red Sox had better vision with runners in scoring position, we wouldn't be sweating the wild card in the first place. Get your eyes checked, boys. 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position is a cry for help.
Mine on too for this segment.
So here is some updated wildcard standings as I did this afternoon. So bear with me if it's not 100% on every little thing. You guys can chime in if there are any mistakes. But we have 9 games left remaining on the schedule, 3 against Tampa, Toronto, and Detroit. Again, no easy task here. Obviously, we can forget about the division. We can basically give up on the first or second place seeds too, because at this point right now, it's panic mode to make the playoffs. So I want to go over a few talking points, and I'll open it up to you guys. Scenario number one: if Boston can go 6-3, they'll have 89 wins. Cleveland would have to go 9-1 because Boston has the head-to-head tiebreaker. The odds of that happening are probably low unless the Guardians become the 27 Yankees. Scenario two, they go 5-4, so one less win, one more loss, 88 total wins. Cleveland would still have to go 8-2 to get 89 because of that tiebreaker. They're hot, seven straight. They're 9-1, but sustaining that is pretty tough. Scenario three, they go 4-5, 87 wins. Cleveland now only has to go 7-3, which is doable. And then scenario four is a collapse of 3 wins. Boston would have 86. Cleveland would only have to go 5-5, 500 for the remaining 10 games that they have, and we have 9. So, Nick, I'll start with you. So those 4 scenarios: 6-3, 5-4, 4-5, and 3 or less. Bottom line here, you've got Crochet tomorrow night. You've got Crochet at least one more time. Can they make it to the finish line is my question.
No, it's going to be 3 or less wins. I can't see any wins coming out of this team with this lineup. I'm going to say it again. Crochet could throw a gem tomorrow. 2 runs or less given up. Who's going to get the job done in the lineup? I have no faith in any of them. Trevor Story, I guess you can say, hopefully he continues to hit, but they're all streaky. You don't know what's going to hit. Somebody could have a bad back sleeping on the plane tonight in Tampa and just tailspin out of control and be horrible. You don't know what you're going to get. Durant could strike out in all sorts of new fashions over this road trip. You have no idea. Toronto's going to kick the crap out of us. I don't see one win coming out of that. If you want to salvage something, maybe you sneak a win out here with Tampa. But you know what I look at here, which is funny? Remember when we swept the Yankees? What was that, in early August or July? I forget when it was. The Yankees pretty much kicked our butt this past time when they were here at Fenway Park. They took 2 out of 3. Well, the Red Sox swept the Rays early on, and that was when all the fun was starting with the Sox, when they had the 4-game sweep against Tampa. We had the 3-game winning streak against the Nationals, and then the 3-game winning streak against the Rockies. That was our highest point of the season. Guys, if we took those 10 wins away from this team, we aren't having a conversation about anything related to a playoff team right now. That 10-win thing, screw you, David Hamilton. Ruined and gave everybody false hope with this team. Especially him upstairs on my head. That is what has been the catalyst here for driving all of us insane August and September because of what you did in July. Great what you did in July. I think all of us knew deep down this was not going to be sustainable. It wasn't. Not with the roster that was assembled. Not with the injuries. Not with any of it that was going on. No way. You were beating up on crap teams. And good for you for getting the job done. But right now, it's pressure time. And you need to take care of business. And they aren't getting it done. I don't see how this team can win over 3 games the rest of the season. I really don't. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to do any of it. I'm just telling you how I feel, what I see, and what is going on with this team. If you can barely beat the A's, how in the living hell are you going to take anything out of the Rays, anything from the Blue Jays, and then anything with the Tigers, even with them struggling? No way, no how. It's not happening.
Thayer, what's your thoughts for the remainder of this season? Are they going to get in or are they not going to get in?
I don't think they're getting in. I agree with Nick. As I said earlier, I sort of ran it out last night, this morning, and they needed to win 3 of 4 against the Rays in the last game of the A's, and they needed Scooble to beat Cleveland. and he didn't do it, and we didn't do it. That means we have to sweep the Rays. Okay, you have Crochet tomorrow, give you a win. Then you have door number 2. Who is it? Harrison, I think, is now who they're saying is going to start. So let's go with Harrison. He's going to give you 4 innings at most, if you're lucky. Then you have to bring in your underbelly of the bullpen. Toast. Then you're going to have, Early go. Okay, Early has been pitching very well. Do you believe that a kid making his 3rd major league start is going to continue to pitch at the level that he is? In pressure situations. This isn't Tanner Houck pitching 2 years ago when nothing was on the line except a better draft pick, which they blew because he won his 5 starts. But that's a whole nother story about how the Red Sox screw everything up. But that's kind of how they're not going to get that. So I say they probably win one of these games. Maybe they get 2 from the Rays. Then they're going to go into the Jays and they're going to get blasted. The only positive thing is you're going to have Bayo and Giolito, but those guys we've seen what's going on. They're struggling. And you know that even at their best, they're going to give up runs to the Jays, and we cannot score. And they're going to go to Texas, and Texas is going to need it because Texas is just like us. They are starting to struggle. They are close to losing. I don't think they're getting the number 1 seed, but they're going to be looking at possibly having to play in that number 3 game because Seattle's starting to roll too. So I do not see us getting the necessary wins, and I just don't think Cleveland is going to choke.
So people like to call me probably the most negative Red Sox fan on Twitter, and rightfully so, because I've been pissed off for a number of years that the Red Sox should be doing better than they have been over the past number of years, 6 years, let's call it. People ask me all the time, how can you be so negative? Yeah, you live your whole life like that? No. Okay, if you talk to me back 6, 7 years ago or in the early 2000s, I talk to Thayer all the time. We always try to figure out ways and spent our whole freaking lives watching this team. Nick too. But look, I don't wanna be negative, but I don't appreciate, okay, this is the big thing. I don't wanna be negative, but I don't appreciate spending my time and my money following a team that doesn't give a rat's ass about my time and money. And that's what irritates me because when push comes to shove, I don't wanna hear people on Twitter saying, "Yeah, you gotta wait. You gotta give these guys time." Masataka Yoshida, he's just getting used to the United States. I don't wanna hear these ridiculous excuses over and over again. Tristan Casas, he doesn't play, but he's got an OPS over 800. If he doesn't play, it's not good enough. That all being said, I believe they're gonna get in. I really do, and the reason why I'm gonna say this, well, let me recant just a little bit. I may change my mind after the Tampa series. Going into the Tampa series, I'm gonna say they're gonna get in. 'Cause a couple things are striking to me. Number 1, you are in the right position. You're not chasing the wild card. You actually have a game and a half over Cleveland in that wild card, which actually feels like 2.5 because they need to leapfrog you because you have the tiebreaker. So I'd rather be the guy on top than the guy on the bottom. That's number 1. Number 2, the Rays are out of this. Out of the 3 teams left you're playing, the Rays are out of it. And I know everybody can say they're going to play spoiler or they have the opportunity to play spoiler. It sounds great, but you know what? Let's look at the lineup before we actually say that they're going to be going guns blazing because, guys like Junior Caminero, who, is a 40 home run guy, is he going to play every inning of every game left over? I don't know. We'll be able to see that as it goes in, but the bottom line here is the Rays are playing for nothing. Let's just make that clear. They have nothing to play for. So will they risk some of their guys? Will it make it a possible easier situation for the Red Sox? I don't know. The other part of that is Cleveland's schedule. I understand they've got 10 left, 4 at home against Minnesota, and then they go on the road, 3 in Detroit, 3 in Texas. So the majority of their games are not in their home field. They're not going to have their home fans trying to root them on to try to be able to get that last playoff spot. Additionally, the Twins can be a pain in the ass for an opponent. I don't care what who they face, they can be a little bit of a pain in the neck. They are facing Detroit and they are facing Texas. Both those teams are better than the Rays you're going to face. So if they could somehow falter here and you win 2 out of 3 against the Rays, God forbid sweep, you got a really good shot. But all I will say is today, September 18th, I'm saying they're going to make it. I may change my mind after the Rays series because then the last 2 teams you face are vying for the best record in baseball, and that's a big thing when it comes down to having the bye and so forth. So today, I say they're going to make it, but talk to me Sunday night, it may be different.
Yeah. And Jim, just one thing. You're right. I think the doubleheader that they're playing on Saturday, that was what gave me a little bit of hope with this game today. Blowing that hurts, but the Tigers are actually playing their not Tigers. The Guardians are playing their last 2 series against Detroit and Texas in Cleveland. They're home. They're away for the Twins in this 4-game set, and then
My mistake. My mistake.
so that's a little bit different too.
Yeah, I'm sorry I read that wrong. I apologize. Um, so they will have the home field advantage there and have their fans, but I'm still gonna say it. Let's see how it goes by Sunday night, and how that series pans out with Toronto with Tampa Bay. But I'm still hopeful, but it may change at that point. So Mr. Negativity is pretty positive right now. But
I'm proud of you.
with that being said, I'm gonna call it for tonight. I'd like to thank Thayer and Nick for being on. If you do not have, go ahead, Nick.
We do have a
Oh, we have
DD.
we do have
We
some
have a
chat.
DD. We have a DD that's up the top there.
We
We
do?
want him. I don't know
Where
if
is
we
it?
want it.
Where is it?
He's,
What?
he said we just got to believe.
Oh, well, you know what? That's Red Sox Jesus. What can you do? We just gotta believe. I bel
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in the tooth fairy too, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but
Jim and I
hopefully
were going back. I don't know if we want to put him out there, but it was the crochet enjoyer or something like that back and forth with us. I'm just done. I'm done with that guy. So if he wants to interact with me, he can't anymore. I think you kind of all know where that heads to the block list, but I'm done. I don't want to deal with imbeciles like that.
yeah. Well, yeah, we didn't have a dugout dipshit for tonight's show, but just in case everybody wants to hear the humor, Dugout Dipshits is proudly sponsored by Fenway Franks, the only hot dog that tastes better than the worst bullpen decision could possibly be by the Red Sox. Fenway Franks, because nothing pairs with managerial stupidity like overpriced meat in a soggy bun. That's a wrap tonight, everybody. We will see you tomorrow night. Let's hope for the best, like Red Sox Jesus said, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.